Come on. That's him. Clammy hands trying to put on rubber gloves. Yeah. Ah, rubbish. Doesn't bode well, does it? I've opened a new box of gloves. Well, cheaper box of gloves. It might be to do with the fact they've got clammy hands. That's what it should look like. Tacked up. See, I'm not used to putting on rubber, you see, so I'll take any advice. I can't move my fingers. Yeah. I've got some in there somewhere. What do people think of the new camera settings? Hopefully it's clearer. We'll see what happens when the webcam... I think most of the problems I'm having is the webcam warming up. And I think I figured out why I have subtitles on Facebook. If you watch me with mute, which I can understand if you don't want to listen to me, then you have subtitles. So it'd be interesting to see how many people go, oh, I've got subtitles on, because it means that they're not listening to me, which I can totally understand. But I think it's also because I looked this afternoon, I can't believe the numbers. Everyone's sharing this all over the place, and so the numbers have gone absolutely insane. Mark, and I think Facebook start doing subtitles when you get to a certain number. I think I might be just blowing my own rubber glove, but my momentous day in Basil shed quarters, I turned on my aircon onto the cold button. So it's currently sitting in here at a steady 25 degrees, so 80 Fahrenheit in other numbers. So I'm actually going to put the aircon on for a couple of minutes and see what it does. Obviously get colder, but it'd be interesting to see what it does. I had it on earlier a little bit when the shed was in massive sunshine. Right, so tonight's victim is EARCC. So it's a yellow and with a red fade. Red, not orange. Red, red. Hi, Leon. Watching on YouTube. Yeah, that could be a factor, Tim. That they do assume. Well, that's assuming that they're all learned enough to be able to read. So it's actually a compliment. That feels so nasty. It's like I'm in my own bath inside a rubber glove. You see, Ian was there very quick with the tips on how to put rubber on. That's a misspent use, isn't it? So 3/4 cut so far. What we're going with is a majority luminous yellow design with sort of red blobby bits. As technical as that sounds. And I'm trying to do, it's not mirrored, so the design is unique side to side. Fluorescent vermilion. I'm assuming that if you look up the EARCC, it's yellow with a red fade across the bottom of the writing. So this glove feels horrible. Oh, I can feel some cold air now. It's nice. The brush flush is going well, thank you. Well, Leon, just a brand new blade each time, and just try and treat it as a pencil. You don't need to push very hard, and all you need to do is go from point to point and just do the curve. But don't try, if you're doing curves, don't try and do the whole thing in one go, because you're just going to put weird pressure on it and stuff. So just do half a curve, half a curve, half a curve, half a curve, and just join it up. So this is what you use more than anything else, and it's the bit everyone rushes. Drawing thing, I'm not the best drawer. I need to get a nicer flow to my designs, and that's something I've been trying really hard to do. I like the points that you finish on. Just trying to get my paint to look better balanced and not like a 3-year-old trying to draw a Toblerone. And Matt, if you look at some of the professional painters, and there's like a subtle bit of colour, and then it's a real slender bit of, and I think of it as a flow, and the way they cut and draw, you've got to find your own style. I mean, mine looks like a 3-year-old's doodles. See some of the painters and you're thinking, wow, how do they manage that? It looks so nice. I don't know if you follow any of the best painter by a mile is the Japanese dude, TD. He paints Mark Reinhard shells. I mean, if you can find him on Facebook, his stuff is insane. And he paints with his t-shirt weather. Look, I have the arms out. He paints with masking tape still. He doesn't use liquid mask, so it's twice as hard. He's in his artwork. His headlights are amazing. now I've figured out the chrome he kind of uses, I kind of know a little bit more. The dude from A Paint's amazing too, but everyone has a personal favourite, and mine's TD. They both have completely different styles. I just love the flow of TD's stuff. It looks like it's on fire. There's no, it's not rigid. It sort of just moves, and it's all that. It's just how he cuts. I'd love to be able to kill to cut like that. I am trying to teach myself. Everyone has their own way. I am always trying to improve my flow of design and cutting, and the paint side of things. I'm not going to say I'm getting better, but it's just one part of the puzzle. And if you can't draw, then it doesn't matter what you cut or how good a painter you are. It's still going to look like a 3-year-old's drawn a Toblerone. You know, like zig zag, zig zag, zig, and it just looks like it looks rubbish. So this is TD inspired, if that's a polite way of saying it. His stuff has just got, as I keep saying, a flow. It's going to look weird in the subtitles. Flow this, flow that, flow, 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 flow. Maybe I should put that YouTube thing I found earlier of Donald Trump just saying the word China. There's a clip on YouTube of Donald, which is losers, saying the word China, and they've cut it out of every interview he's done for the last year, and it's just the tone in which he says the word China. It just changes all the way through, and it's just a repeat of the same thing, and it just makes me laugh because it's completely stupid, and that's my humour, which is stupid. I know. We all have stuff that makes us laugh, and that's what makes me laugh. Something that's a bit stupid. That's why I hang around with the people I hang around with. They're not as pretentious as some, or as chaotic. If anything, I'm the chaotic one. How's everyone been? Everyone all right? First nice warm day we've had here in the UK. Oh, I'm actually going to turn that aircon off now. I'm getting a bit cold. Still got to thank Mr. Study for this. He even gave me his controller, which apparently his wife still wants back. So that's dropped it by about 5 degrees. I've still got sweaty gloves though. Right, so nearly finished this side. I've done all the windows. I've done the lights and grills. Oh, I've never been called that before. High artist. Hello, dude. Nice to meet you. Evening, Ian. How much, right, on these little MTCs, how big are the wheel arches? Because I don't want to make a great big opening for a 10th size wheel. If they use GT12 wheels, don't they? So they're like a much smaller opening. I just want to know roughly if I've got enough arch or enough space. I'll look later, Mon. Thank you. So have I made the blanks too big? $60mm, right. So on here it's actually got oh, that's all right. So that's 55. So I'm okay. It depends on the wheelbase. Right, okay. I've just gone centre to centre and then the width of a bit of tape, I suppose. Thank you, Neil. So these are going into the raffle at the MTC Nationals. My sponsorship for the summer. I intended to do one a month, but the bag's sitting there and it's not getting on my nerves. But it's a case of like I've got the time. I really should do it. I'll only kick myself when I have to do them later and I can't give them my full attention because this is supposed to be like a bit of promo work for me. So I want these to look good. Not that I set about trying to make anything look rubbish, but you want to make a good impression because these are people that don't necessarily know who Basil is. I don't want their first impression of Basil to be like everyone else's impression now. So remember, if somebody messages, goes, "Why have you got subtitles?" It means they're watching in mute. We'll just see if anyone does. But when I get the red paint out, everyone assumes it's orange again. See that's a brand new bottle of red tonight. Every so often it just gets moments of really good vision. It focuses wicked. Go on, focus, go on. I don't know if I can. I might do the secret flick, but as everyone has to turn away anyway, I can't dazzle somebody that can't see it. Do you know what I mean? It's like I tell everyone to respect my style, and none of you lot have seen it, so. I gained another 5 Twitch followers last night, so I'm nearer the cartoon on the head thingy that I said to. If I got to 100, I'm also on the Twitch thing. There's 4 bits of criteria you've got to. You got to get to, was it 4 or 5 bits? 4. One, you got to stream for 8 hours a month, right? Well, I'm nearly at 40 hours. The next is you've got to stream on 7 days over the course of the month. I've done 13. You've got to hit 50 followers. I'm at 40. And you've got to have 3 concurrent views of your feeds. And I'm sitting at 2.8. So I'm just off the 3 that I need. Oh, Adam. So I'm nearly at the point where Twitch becomes quite interesting. But the reason I like Twitch is also I don't get told off for having music in the background. That's probably the main reason. And the quality of the feed's a bit better. I mean, the content's just as poor. It doesn't matter what you watch it on. But the quality of said poor content is better. It was a monumental day today. I had my first, well, no, actually second set of lockdown shells collected by the delivery driver. So they've gone off to Bristol, and tomorrow I've got 3 sets being collected. One going to Mr. Hobson, as in Gary. Another one to Mr. Madison, and then one going to New Zealand. I'm really impressed, right? New Zealand from the UK by post. 7 days, it says it's going to be. Evening, KO. So bear in mind all the world trouble at the moment. A parcel will get from World Shed Quarters to New Zealand in 7 days. And it cost 50 quid. So I'm pretty impressed with that. So what I did is I cut all the wings off and wrapped it up as much as I could. And it's probably, well, it's the length of a touring car shell and a tiny bit. So I was actually quite chuffed how small I managed to get it and how light I managed to get it. And also how strong I managed to make it, if that makes sense. Because I cut a box up and mucked about with it to make it a snugger fit so nothing rattles around. I'm just shocked that you can still send something around the world within 7 days with half the world on lockdown, and it only costs 50 quid. It's like 20 quid to send something to Germany, so another £30 on top of that to go all the way to New Zealand. I don't see the problem. Then I've got people that won't spend a tenner. Well, no, what I'm doing is I'm saying 10 quid and then I will sub the rest of it. So I'm saying to people, it'll be 10 quid. So if I went to the post, it would cost me about £8.50 to send a parcel. But then I'm spending the extra to have it collected from home. So I'm saying to people, can you pay £10 post and then anything more and I'll pay it? And it's working out about 15 quid at the moment to send a parcel, and they come and collect it from me. Because I don't particularly want to go stand in the post queue, and that's a personal choice I've made. Although I've got some shells here that I'll hand over to people when I see them, should we ever get out again. So they're sitting in my hallway, which is very pleasant. I get to stare at them every time I go up the stairs. And bear in mind, it's a box of 4. It had 43 shells in it, so it's not a very small box. Right, we're going to be using the super secret, top secret chrome tonight as well, or chrominium as I'm about to name it. Right, Tony. Yes, Neil. What I do, I draw a thick line, and I cut either side of the permanent marker line. So I'll go one side of it on the inside, and then on the outside of it, and I just make sure the points will join up. So that's how I kind of get my pinstripe the right. Well, kind of universal. Depends how picky you are, because it's all freehand. Ian, I do use Royal Mail normally, but I've been seeing that. I mean, it was my daughter's birthday a few weeks ago, and we still keep getting the odd birthday card turn up. So I don't really want to send anything Royal Mail. You saw this. I saw a horror picture a couple of weeks ago of one of their sorting offices where everything's sitting waiting. And I'm like, right, okay, I will go back to Royal Mail at some point, but I don't want to go stand in a post office. And to have Royal Mail come and collect it from the house, it's extortionate. So I'm actually using DHL. I know the driver as well, so that's handy. This is my driver at work as well. Because obviously I'm having stuff collected from home. So the kids are homeschooling and also official doorbell listeners. So I don't know what you mean there, Ian. Just gonna have a look back, scroll back up, see what you meant. Oh, you mean to send it to New Zealand? To send it to New Zealand, DHL was actually one of the cheapest. It was £48.90 or something daft like that. And that's through Parcel Compare something. Well, I'm not going to promote them too much because I'm not entirely impressed with them. And DHL was one of the cheapest. You could send it to be there within 3 working days, but it was 160 quid or something daft like that. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't need to be there that fast, but it's nice to know that if I should ever need to get anything that quick, it could be done. Warm again. Has anyone done any painting today, or any masking up, or any doodling, or anything like that? What's everyone been up to? Anyone got any projects, any interesting projects to do at the moment? Maybe I should fast forward that song because there's a lot of effing and jeffing in that. Sorry. Let me jump forward a couple of minutes. It's the two Scotsmen collide on Twitch. So it's Mad Jock versus Super Jock. Tony, did that turn up today, did it? So that's a nice toy to play with. Got it all set up. Right, see now the resolution of the... Now I know what to play with. I'm just going to pop this up. I've changed it, well I didn't change it, Colin changed it, so now we've got the flicker gone. We turn the contrast down, now the camera's warmed up a bit. I'll turn the brightness down a bit, tiny bit as well. What does everyone think? And the acid test is probably my bald spot. Well, all you do, Leon, is you just fold a bit of paper in. Well, draw one side, then put another bit of paper over, or a bit of tracing paper over it, or you just literally you can do it on a bit of tracing paper. Draw one side, and just hold it inside on both, and it will give you a mirror both sides. You only got to draw half of it, and then flick it over, and it's quite handy to do. Finally got these gloves on. It looks like I've been in a bath for about 6 hours when I take these off. Right, last couple of bits, and then we can start with some paint. I don't mind the gloves normally. Well, that's really upset the balance on the camera, isn't it? I'll change that back. It looks horrible. I did. I just changed the contrast, and it's going to bring it back up again. Because I can't. This laptop was condemned because the mouse is broken. No, the touch part on it. So I have to connect a mouse up, which means I either disconnect the microphone or the camera. So it's a bit hit and miss if it works. Mixed with my eyesight. There we go, hit the button. Is that better? Yes, I shall be I have a little wish list of bits and bobs I want to get, which I'll get anyway. The laptop only has 2 USBs, and when I've got the microphone attached and the webcam attached, I can't connect up my mouse, and I'm getting a monitor to screw on the wall there. So here soon there'll be a monitor, so I'll be able to talk to you face on rather than cricking my neck and looking out the corner. My laptop's over here. Nothing's turned up yet, Tony. But I haven't had much from Royal Mail in the last couple of days. Another reason why I won't use Royal Mail. It seems that Royal Mail seems to be adversely affected, whereas the other firms don't. I think the other firms have got such a good union. Oh, that sounds very cynical. So I'm doing these pinstripes, all different widths and curves and bends and bumps, to try and give it a bit of flow. I promise not so I can just wangle out of having to do nice sharp pinstripes. I'm trying to add a bit of something to my style. I don't know what yet it's called. So the roof's all done. Windows are all done. Windows I'm going to do black, window frames, because I like them to stand out. That's done. Boots done. Got to do brake lights. That side's all done. I don't know if that's actually going to show up, if you can actually see the cut lines. Oh, you can nearly see the cuts. If you get the light right, there you are. You can just make one of them out there. No, it's gone. There you are. You can see them. So those two, you can see those cuts. So if you get the light right, eventually all the pinstripes just pop. And you can see where you've cut. So we're going for like some mad curvy, bendy, twisty things. Oh, there's one here I've missed. So it's front wheel. And even if you can't see your cut lines, you can see where the you can feel when the blade runs over a cut you've already made. I never said where to buy one from. I bought mine so many years ago, I wouldn't know where to send you to, Matt. So a silhouette portrait. I mean, I don't even know if my spec one's made anymore. I think there's about 2 or 3 in front of the one I've got. One's very old. Annoyingly, the firm I buy my mask from, my sheets of mask, aren't sending anything out. They've made the choice to stop trading. So I have 1 sheet left. So that's nice. and I'm kind of stubborn, and I like that particular one, and I haven't found it anywhere else, so I've got to kind of wait. Right, so that's done, that's done, that's done, that's done, that's done, that's done, that's got, need, got, need, got, that's done, that's done. There's nothing worse than starting to pull out bits of mask and realise that you didn't actually cut it. So I'm just making sure I have everything done, and I'm looking twice. Cut once, check 3 times, pull once. You might hold that light right. Does that? Oh, that's going straight into it, and then again. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ah, you can't see him. I thought it might show up. I think I use the same people, Ian. I found a firm doing exactly the same stuff on a roll, but the roll, once you cut it into A4 sheets and left it for a week to try and flatten out, it never ever stuck as well. If that makes sense. It wasn't as tacky. I don't know why. So I refused to try anything else now. It doesn't work as well. Right, so we can now do some. See, that wasn't too bad, was it? I actually did a little bit of prep work. Boom. Oh, sorry, I'm getting my jocks muddled up. So you're Super Jock, and then there's Mad Jock, 17. He was 17 when he started that little Twitch account. So that was quite some time ago. At least a year. Or is 17 the amount of iron brews you drink in a day? It's a pain, isn't it? It comes off the roll, and you think, oh, I'll just cut it out because I've got a guillotine at work and leave it under some weights like I do for artwork for customers, and it won't stick. It's really weird. So more than 17 cans a day. Suppose you got any teeth? So who's got? Nobody say anything. Who's got subtitles on? What sort of numbers are we hitting tonight? I haven't actually got my phone's there and it's off. Well, not off, but it's not on. I can't believe the numbers I'm hitting at the moment. I mean, it's not necessarily instantaneous, but a day or two after, 3,000 or 4,000 views per stream. What's that come up for? Ashley, if you're watching, yes, if I can afford it. It sounds expensive. Drive on Facebook. Well, that's disappointing. Well, look at the fame's gone to my head, isn't it? 12. 12, that's not much. So 13's my lucky number. I'm not going to try and pronounce it. Odeon UK? Oh God. I get my masking sheets off of eBay. I buy that stuff. Comes in a green sheet, A4 size. I take 12 on Twitch. You're damn right. Yeah. It's got to that point now where it started off and it was like 1, maybe 2, and now it's jumped to like 12, and it's just gonna. Apparently, it's just. Hopefully now it should start to gain some. It's like a stand of stair lift. Once it gets cranked up, it's just going to keep going. Well, it'll stop eventually, but the stand of stair lift. Right, so we're ready for some paint. One window. So paint on the window frames, and then we're going to do the headlights and grills. I saw the painter I still got. I haven't got a problem with, but I keep seeing him posting stuff up for sale, asking top money, and he hasn't done any lights and grills on his shelves, and it's getting on my nerves. But I won't say anything because it's not my place to. I can touch from a distance. Oh, he's done it again. Oh. But it's bad because he's charging decent money and he's doing half a job. I don't know why people are paying him. I think it's because I've spent a lot of time. I'm slightly jealous because I've spent a lot of time practicing my lights and grills, and you then watch somebody doing less work and charging more money. I mean, his work's good enough. Don't get me wrong, very passable, but I just don't think he's putting full effort in. He's mugging people off a little bit. Just my opinion. I won't say who it is. No, I'm not challenging to a paint off or a fight. I get in enough trouble as it is without telling people what I think they should or shouldn't do. It's very lazy though. Right, so where is my black detail gone? Right, I think this is the one I need. Right, so I put a marble in with this, right? Doesn't that remind you of your youth? So you're just waiting till that. Obviously the weather's warmer, so the paint's a little bit. You just want that to rattle because it'll paint easier, or better, or smoother. This makes riveting TV, doesn't it? Right. That's the thing. If he has a market, and they don't expect. If he's never done lights and grills, then why would people expect him? But if people did that here, because it's not a UK painter, I'll say that much. people wouldn't pay it because he still wants. Well, he charges more money than me. So my little moisture trap on the end of my air hose. Whee! All right. So we're going to use my Sparmex because that's my detail brush. I left this with my Basil brush flush in it. Yes, but it sounds hilarious when it rattles around next to a microphone. And with a marble in there as well, it definitely mixes it up better. It's like if you think about, if you look at see, look, here's a pearl. Oh, great! You can't see the bottom. Right, you can't see the bottom of it. So the top's a light green, and the bottom is a completely different shade because all the good bits are at the bottom. There, you can see it clearer. Look, before it all moves. So all the bits that makes the green shiny is at the bottom. Hey, we've hit 100 messages. 55 minutes. It was faster last night. Yes, I've always run a little moisture trap on. Well, I say yes for the last 6 months. I think it was like a £5 from Schumacher, and I think it's brilliant. I don't necessarily if it's a Hobbynox thing, but I just think if you leave any pearl paint long enough, it separates. Yes, Ashley, the pigments. See, Ashley's a pro painter and roofer. And he's gonna drive me to Germany because you got to drive past me to get on the boat. So you might as well pick me up. You know what I mean? Or we could take my van. Should get there and back. Well, we'll get there anyway. That's the important bit. I've just got to ask the current Mrs. Basil if I'm allowed. Not like the other young, free and single ones. I've got to ask. That's why I'm married and not divorced. Yeah, you can leave me there, yeah. I'm not that annoying. Okay, it might be a little bit. No, you don't like tank juice. No. But you should drain your tank more often. That's the best thing to do. Has anyone seen let's do an F1 thing. Do you know they're saying that F1 was it Liberty Media are saying that if the UK government imposed this 14-day travel self-imposed thingy on everyone coming here to the Grand Prix, they won't be able to race it, and they want it lifted so that the F1 personnel can be exempt from a worldwide pandemic, just because there's something to do with Formula One, which I think is utter horseshit. If you want to race here, you abide by the conditions by where you want to race, not start making your own shit up. Cool, that sounded quite forthright, didn't it? Right, I'm going to put some hex in this door pillar. Why do Liberty Media sort of dictate to the government that you can't put any of our employees into quarantine for 14 days? Well, where else are they going to go after the race is finished? Because there's no other races. F1's doomed this season. Why are they even trying? They won't have a French one. They've already missed the French Grand Prix, and so are they trying to rearrange it? I know you've got the Red Bull ring. I just think why not just admit defeat and say bollocks to it, we'll come back next year, rather than half-arsing it and just the cars aren't proven. Is the reliability any good? They haven't done they've done a couple of race distances in testing. We haven't had, by the time of the season, the cars should be pretty nailed down to finish. If you start a Grand Prix now, there's going to be all sorts of teething issues, isn't there? And it'd be like an Australian Grand Prix where like half the field retires through mechanical failure. That'll look good when you've got everyone watching. You need to have a couple of days practice. The drivers will be, obviously, they're super fit anyway, but you think they might need a couple of days back to get used to the. Do you remember what was it? Damon Hill said that the first thing of the first test of the year was to get used to the sheer speed of the thing again, because you'd have all that off time. Well, that's because the Liberty Media bought F1 at top money off of Eccleston, and they're financially bankrupt if they don't do anything. So I understand that, but is the argument that they're going to go bust or financially ruin, so they're going to put on a shit race so they can generate some money? So I don't understand it. Just ruins F1. So they just get their money. They're not thinking of the actual content. They're just putting it because they need to, because they've bankrupted themselves. Granted, nobody puts a worldwide pandemic into your business model, but if every government puts on a quarantine, the season's null and void anyway, because you won't be able to bounce between track to track without. You'll have to have a race team in each country, and the driver just turns up and isolates for 12 days and then races. I have watched a lot of UFC in this lockdown. I kind of respect it more, having watched a lot more of it. I still don't like it when you can see someone's been injured and they start knocking the shit out of them when they're on the floor and they can't defend themselves. They still go in. There should be a little bit of respect and just step back and go, like, I've knocked you to the floor. You're done. Not barrel on and the referee's going to tell me to get off you. I think this makes me cringe a little bit. Well, yeah, because that'll keep Renault in Formula One. So Renault have obviously turned around and said we can't afford to. We've obviously lost our star driver to McLaren. They've got a McLaren. They've got a Mercedes reject as their number 2, and they're going to bring back a retired old driver that forced himself out of Formula One because he was too gobby. Can you imagine Cyril, the head of Renault, which is what Cyril? I can't pronounce his surname. Can you imagine that Cyril and Alonso clashing? They're going to knock 7 bells out of each other. That'd be more interesting than the bloody racing. It would be interesting to see how Alonso steps up against the Mercedes reject. I know that's talking very dimly of Ocon, but Ocon got dropped by Force India. That was probably more of a funds-related thing. Became a Mercedes number 3 driver, and Mercedes actually rated Bottas over Ocon. So it says a lot about Ocon, doesn't it? I know that's probably going to get me into all sorts of arguments. And the only driver Renault had that was any good, they've sold. I know, sorry, Colin. I'm being argumentative, aren't I? It's brilliant. It's not. Nah, Bottas, he won't ever. Lewis has got the better of him. That's why Lewis likes him there. That's why Kimi was always liked by Vettel. They're always nice to their teammates when they've got them absolutely nailed. Look how Lewis was with Rosberg, and how Vettel was with Charles. Well, even Webber at certain points, because Webber was absolutely whipped by Vettel. So then as soon as Ricciardo came into Red Bull, Vettel was gone, wasn't he? Well, Ocon trying to unlap himself in the Brazilian Grand Prix a couple of years ago did himself absolutely no favours. But that just starts a massive argument up, doesn't it, about lapping and stuff like that, and how you can justify trying to unlap yourself from the leader and then take the leader clean off and then blame the leader. I still struggle with that one. But that's quite contentious and probably will start off a bit of a tiswas. I'm sorry. I just like the fact I can actually just say it rather than type it out for 10 minutes. But Formula One, it's a business, isn't it? And some of them drivers are there because they're good assets, not necessarily the best drivers. You look how far Maldonado got, and that was purely money. I mean, Jesus, he was the last winner in a Williams. We won't. Yeah, you won't see a 4-time world. How many world champions is Vettel? 4? Is he 4 or is he 3? Mercedes have learnt they can't have an equal pairing. I mean, not that German quitter was anything as equal to Lewis. Just Lewis was too aggressive on his engines and stuff, and had more retirements than Rosberg, and that Mercedes was so much more superior to any other car that there was no other competition. And it just shows the marking of the man that he managed to generally beat Lewis once and then he quit because he couldn't back it up again. He realised it was a fluke. Oh, I'm on form tonight. I'm being really argumentative. Sorry. Shall I start being more positive? Vettel's a 4-time. Well, yeah, thank you. Obviously, all with the Adrian Newey. Right, so what should we talk about rather than me sort of digging a hole and get myself into trouble with everyone with my poor opinions? I'm going to paint those so that I don't get into trouble anymore. Albert, you're not supposed to agree with me. I'm supposed to be being like really argumentative. Yes, completely. Yeah, someone else agrees with me. That Mercedes was so much. Well, it still is the class of the field, because Formula One can't have two teams both at the same time that they're competitive ever, because it fundamentally doesn't work. So it's always between two teammates, and Lewis used to rag the living whatsits off his car, and he would generally be faster, and Nico would tickle his car round and not blow up. So he played percentages over Lewis, and he won. But on his day, that quitter couldn't get near him. That's why you haven't seen him come back with another team, because obviously he's won his world crown, and the only way you're going to go from there is. I personally, I would do the same. You win it, you retire, because you've got nothing else to prove. Obviously, these kids are so rich that they're not doing it for money anymore. He's got the bit that he was after, which was the world title, and then you come up with some piss poor excuse and just bugger off, and then no one can ever beat you. Whereas you can hang around like Lewis has and do it consistently. Don't get me wrong, right? I am not a Lewis fan, but you've got to give Lewis some credit to do it consistently through the eras of the F1 he's done it in. Well, I don't know. Just because most of the followers here are English doesn't necessarily mean that we're all Lewis. I mean, I'm not a Lewis fan. So that cheap gloves. Damn it. I feel so much nicer. I've got some air now. in my ideal situation, well, you're Scottish. You're a Coulthard fan, obviously, or a Jackie Stewart. What was I going on when I? He is an amazing driver. He turned up in Formula One. He had a hairline like mine, and now he's got a ponytail. So if Google early pictures of Lewis and Google pictures of Lewis now, and you can see where the 30 million quid a year he earns goes. It's on his head, because that hair on his head wasn't on his head 10 years ago, because the dude was bald. I don't understand. I understand why Alex has done what he's done. I mean, like, Nico wasn't actually a German driver, was he? Because his obviously his dad is Keke Rosberg, and he wasn't German, but his mum's German, and he started off racing under his father's nationality, then kind of realised that he needed the German backing to promote himself, so he changed national. You see him go-karting against Lewis when they were kids, and he was running under his dad's nationality. So they both. So I just ruined a quiz question there. Here's a quiz question for you: what father-son combo have both been world champions, but for different nationalities? I've just ruined the question. Sorry, that was one of my keepers. Damn it! Because Nico races for Germany, and Keke was Swedish or Finnish. Swedish. Oh shit! Someone help me out, please. I'll give Lando his dues. Lando is a character. He comes from a very, very privileged background. I know that has nothing to do with it, but he's not would not come from where like Lewis has. I'm not defending Lewis. Sorry, I'll just carry on doing this. I'm just digging a hole for myself. No, both of Verstappen's. I'm sure both Verstappen's are. Well, they're definitely not world champions. A pair of them. And is he Dutch or is he? Oh, this is a bit of someone can figure that out for me. Yeah, I just think I don't know. It's a good PR thing, isn't it? He's very, very personable, but I think it's a. I don't know. I'm getting far too cynical. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, which is painting. The kid's absolutely minted. Google his dad. I know it has absolutely nothing to do with it, but every so often it's good to just take your needle out and give it a bit of a Right, so I've mentioned one World Championship father and son. Can you name me the other two? I think it's two. How many other? Was it actually or not? I don't know. There's at least one other family, the father and son, that have been world champion. Can you name them? Well, it says, what, Lando's dad retired at 36. Yeah, I think both the Verstappens are Dutch. Can you imagine how mad that would have been if we'd had the Dutch Grand Prix this year? Yes, the hills. Now, I don't know if this is correct or not. Are the Villeneuves? Was Daddy Villeneuve a world champion? I know Junior was. That dipshit. Jacques. Gilles? Was Gilles a world champion? I can't remember. No, he's not. Okay. Well, I thought I wasn't completely sure. So obviously his son was. Because it would have been. Oh, I got a spammer. Is that a spammer thing from Twitch? I'm going up in the world. So people on Facebook, if there's anyone, I don't know if there's anyone watching on Facebook, but I have a spammer on Twitch. Two spammers. They're the same person. Oh, it's two people doing the same thing. Oh, that's double famous. I got spammed on Facebook a week ago. I'll take it as a compliment. I should make them follow me now for make them fight for following me. Yeah, I can't do two spammers. I've only got to have one at a time. Which spammer is going to be? It's just odd that there was the same time, but just with different names. So there's obviously two same account, two different names. I want that one. Yeah, I could do with the views if they do stay for a bit. That'd be interesting. I couldn't care less what they spam, unless it's offensive. I'm trying to think if I can get away with a B for a basil in the front grill of this, because it's not very big. I think it might look a bit odd, so I'm not actually going to do it. So I just pulled a little bit of the mask up in that corner when I pulled that out. So tape covers everything. I'm going to see how my Facebook numbers are. Oh, 10. Got a little bit of overspray there I've got to sort out, if I can get it out. Where I'm having to, where I'm using my hex pattern, I don't have as much of it as I would like, so I'm having to use it a bit more than I want to. So normally I would have chucked that by now. So a bit of tissue, and hopefully it will rub out the. The beauty about this black paint I use, which is the detail black, nailed it. Got the absolutely nuts. So that's detail black. Because it kind of dries instantly when you get the PSI right. So in theory, yeah, it's still a little bit. It's got worse actually. Another use of the tweezers. Thank you, Super Jock. I shall have a look later. Because the ones I use on Facebook, on eBay, have said it basically it gave you no option to buy it. I was like, oh. So this gun is running so nicely. And a lot of that could be the fact the temperature's got better, or the fact that I'm mixing the paint better now it's got a marble in it. But that ran lovely. Or the fact I cleaned it the other night. And my water's running nicely as well. It could be my new Basil brush flush. Where's the colour gone? Or the brightness has disappeared? It's either way too bright or too dark. I can't win. Let's try turning up the... Oh no, it's brightened up again. It was probably a good cut. No. It's my new special super mix. It's my basil juice. I can't remember who gave me the name, because I put up saying, oh, what should I call it? And someone called it Basil Brush Flush. Then I thought that was particularly genius. Right, so now... Oh no, I've got a bit more to do. I've got the front little side grills to do. And then we've got brake lights to do, and then we can get on to some... I don't know what colour I'm going to do the brake lights yet. Could do them yellow, I suppose. Well, no, because that's going to be yellow. No, it's going to be white. Hey, watch if it's going to be... That's white. That's white. 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 Or an M upside down. Or a W upside down, sorry. No, I'm going to do the brake lights red. Oh, my poor glove. Special sauce. Boom, boom. There you go. That's right. I should just call it that. Boom, boom. Get into all sorts of copyright laws. That nice orange. It's a bit better than the red, you see. It's a bit deeper colour. Oh, 2 seconds. Got someone knocking on the door. Right, 2 seconds, people. My little kitten has caught either a little mouse or a stag beetle or something, so I just got to go save it. So I'll be 2 seconds. I won't be long. Little Peanut's caught something. My God, that was a huge stag beetle the cat had caught. Sorry about that. I hope everyone's still here. The whacking gate thing, I had to use a broom. I'm not telling you what's in my sauce. That's super secret. I get at least one inquiry a day. At least one inquiry a day about my hex pattern. Oh, hi, mate. Where did you get? Where did you buy? Yeah, can you give me your hex? No. I'll tell you how to make your own. Well, if you tell me which one I've used, not on here, obviously, I can confirm or deny. But yes, it's the lube in it that sort of just drip, 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 drip onto there. That helps with the brush, and it helps the helps the brush with keeps it lubricated. It has made a marked improvement on my pinstripe, just the general gun. I suppose you could add the special sauce to the existing reducer I've got, but this stuff I can make like 2 or 3 litres. For what I pay for that on its own. That's 120 mil, and I can make 1 or 2 litres with that. Cannot confirm or deny that, Colin. I'll deny it even if you got it right. What I have done though is I've mixed the levels round a bit and made mine a bit stronger. So we'll see how I get on with it over a few weeks. Right, so we can start with some shading of the red-orange sections. It's going to take some getting used to doing pinstripe this way round, I must admit. It's another good test though, I thought, tonight. I'm not comfortable with it yet, so the thing to do is to carry on. Well, I don't think I'm allowed to actually physically sell it, Ian. So what I'll do is we might do like a sponsored donation or something like that. I don't know how I can get around it. Because apparently there's all sorts of things when you're selling chemicals, even if it's your own home mix, you've got to, I don't know, there's some weird test or something so that you're not making something that's going to harm or... And for a man that likes iron brew, can you promise me you won't drink it? I just want to test it for a few weeks to make sure that the strength I've made doesn't blow out the seals on my brush. From what I've read, apparently the strength I've made, not on my Iwata because my Iwata hasn't got any seals, but on my Sparmex, I want to see what it does to the Sparmex O-rings. But I'm very happy with it so far. Sort of a full rebuild, and so far it's run really nicely. I can get the other ingredient to turn it from blue to orange if it really makes it feel better for you. I was thinking of getting the special bit that turns it a different colour, orange, so that it was kind of more Basil orientated. The problem is I had to buy like 15 litres of it to get it the right colour. So I was like, do you know what, I'll just keep it blue. So I need to make the clear one up for the reducer, so there is a different mixture for the reducer. So the only one I've made so far is the cleaner. And I've got plenty of reducer anyway, so it's not urgent to figure out. I can play with that later. Yes, I'm worried about it blowing my ring out. Do they come with a warning thing? Like, warning, this will turn you very Scottish. Talking of right, I went to one of the, I don't particularly like flying, and I went to one of the Spanish Grand Prix by going by coach. So I got a train up to London, then got on a bus and went from central London to a hotel they opened specially near the Barcelona track. And we stayed on the coach for 24 hours to drive from London to Barcelona. And there was a pair of Scotsmen that when we got on, this is what I loved about the coach trips. By the time you got to the destination, that was in the hotel, you knew everyone, 2 rows in front of you and 2 rows behind, and then beside as well. So you watched the people that were flying in for just the race, and they knew nobody. Whereas we were sitting on the same bus for 24 hours. We knew each other quite well. And these 2 Scotsmen got on, and one of them had a litre bottle of Jack Daniels and a can of Coke as a chaser. And he had to get locked in the loo of the bus from, I don't know, from Paris all the way down to Spain. So that was entertaining. It turned out to be all right, but it was a very, very, very amusing first impression. Morn, these are small scale TC. So they use the G. Do you know? Did you ever run GT12? These run the same wheels as GT12. So I'll just grab a touring car shell, so that's the proper one, so you can see the scale. So they are a lot smaller. The Blitzkrieg. What's the scale, Ian? I can't remember. Are they 12th scale touring cars? They're 4-wheel drive and they run on foams, and they are actually reasonably quick. That's the only thing that the MTC is the fact that you can run either foam or rubber. I understand the argument. I don't think it should be both. That's just my personal 5p's worth. I'm not trying to get into some foam and rubber argument. I don't care which one it is. I just don't think both should be allowed on track, because obviously one's much better than the other. But I've seen enough people argue about it, and it's like, whoa. I just don't think. I don't care which one it wins. I just don't think that both should be on track. We went through foams with GT12, and I think that's what killed GT12 off, personally. Oh, politics, I should stop that. I mean, I don't even run the class, so I don't know even why I'm trying to get into an argument, which I'm not. They're very similar to a Tamiya M class, but they are a little bit more, well, like a touring car. So the 4-wheel drive, they are impressive. Oh, that's the MTC Massive after me now. Right, so I'm just making sure I don't pick out the pinstripe I want to do later. So obviously this technique is still new to me, and I did go a bit over the top on that touring car I did as a test. Turned out really nice, but I could have made my life a lot easier for myself, but I didn't see the point in just practicing it and then not learning anything. So you learn in adversity, don't you? Tim, that's why I didn't get into it. I kind of started and then stopped. But I'm not allowed to go on about my class, because every time I get start moaning about it, I'm told I wasn't at the AGM, which I wasn't. Maybe the AGM this year will be videoed. If the Houses of Parliament can now do question time via video link, I'm sure the BRCA can have a Zoom feed. Yeah, see, Colin, I kind of agree and I don't, because like in the touring cars I run, the two series I go to, which is Rug Racers and EWS, both run control tyres and control additive, and it's made it absolutely amazing. Because I know, but I haven't got the time to go and spend days and days and days and hundreds of pounds worth of tyres to try and find out which additive works and what timings you got to use. We all kind of know what it works, and it's a real leveler now. Right, so we're now ready for some shading. Now I'm going to put a little bit, let's go see what happens. It's either going to work or it doesn't. I'm not decided that was a good idea yet. Never start your point where you want it. Always start, like I started midway through that rear window to drag it all the way along. So you just make sure you get it right there and then you start. You don't start there and screw it up. You start there and you can make the screw up. Then you move on to the where. So you start there, then move along. Don't start there and it's a little bit of security. So I'm going to start on the window. And then, so we have control tyres and control additive, and there's a additive area as well. And you're not allowed the additive anywhere other than on the additive table. And you can't turn up with your own. So you use what's supplied, which I think it's brilliant. I think it's really changed. Otherwise, you spend hundreds of pounds trying all the different additives, and you turn up and you get the wrong one, or you've the wrong mix. You've done it. Yeah, it's just wrong. I know it's a very personal thing. That's just my opinion, and I can talk about that because that is the class I run. So no. Right, now it's calmed down a little bit. That's actually running quite nicely. but it's only in the black though. I couldn't put that my cleaner in the white because it would stain it with the blue. I've heard that theory as well, Morn. Personally, never done it. I might bead my tyres and re-glue my tyres the week of the meeting, but I don't put anything on them. That's really spraying nicely, and I'm not getting my dry tip. Yeah, let's not give any too many bits. It's nice that we're all sharing bits of advice. Let's not all give away all our super secret things. I'm hoping. Well, we're not going to be doing any clubmans this year, so we're not going to be on them rides. Not the rides. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what tyres we are actually going to be on for next season. Because if they did open up the tracks tomorrow, there's no tyres. Or very limited stock of them. Definitely not this year's spec. Sweeps, that's it. I was getting them muddled up. I hate them that much, so I couldn't even remember what they are that I'm hating. Really? But I didn't vote for 2021. I was told to vote for 2020. Mm. They haven't made them yet, I wouldn't have thought. Unless they've got a priorities very skew with and they want to make tyres in a pandemic. Well, Morn, we've been running a certain tyre. I won't go into specifics. And it got voted out. And another tyre got voted in. And then it turned out there was some... How do you say this politely? What was voted in lasted 5 minutes on an outdoor track. So it was deemed void. And we went back to last year's tyre. And then the pandemic kicked off and no one's had any running. The tyres we currently run, they've got great longevity, but as they don't work on the first run, it doesn't really matter. I'd rather have a tyre that worked for 2, maybe 3 runs, and then you could have a bit you can have a bit of tyre jeopardy then, because you can. I'm trying not to be too divisive here. What I say. I don't know. It's all awkward. I'm not the poor blokes trying to organise it. I have my own opinions. I wasn't at any of the meetings, so my opinions are mine. Oh, that cut lovely then. Now, Tim, I agree with that. The track listing should be the same because those tracks, tenured, blah blah blah. They won their votes. We haven't actually raced, so that I agree with. Because there's the tracks that will go bust because they haven't had any running. And we need places to actually go run on. I know we need tyres to run on, but we need tarmac to run on as well. Yeah, that was what I didn't like. You get all the effort. The effort involved in going to a clubman's, taking time off work. It's spending more money than you care to tell the current wife, and then you do your tyre prep, you put your car down and you go, oh, I've got a bad set. Oh, that's a shame. And it's ruined. And they just like, oh, they don't grip. Oh, they'll come in next run. No, they don't. And then you get another set on and you go, oh, this set's miles better. No, they're not. They're more consistent. They're not any better. I miss Sorex, where you put a pair of Sorex on and you go, wow, and you go like 0.3 of a second faster for the first run. But if you don't look after them properly, they absolutely just fall to pieces. I'd prefer to have that. Rather than fantastic longevity, but there were never any performance in them. And I'm being very careful not to say any names. I used to love when I used to go-kart. We were only allowed one set of tyres per meeting. So I used to do all my practice on knackered old tyres and set the kart up on the tyres knackered. So when I used to put them on new, they'd be faster, but my kart would handle better after 3 runs, which was generally the final. So, and everyone else's karts would be dog shit, and I'd be quicker than everyone else. So I used to love them. But that's managing your tyres. I think that actually worked nicely. That did, putting that little bit of reducer in there. Like the last EWS we had, that was also on that particular tyre, but the indoor version. I set my fastest run of the day in the last run. I put that more down to the fact Jimmy Madison had set my car up properly. Sorry, his car, not my car. I've never gone that fast in the final. Although I'd got used to Jimmy's weird setup. It was really weird. It handled this X-ray. Literally, you could go into the corner. Didn't matter what angle you went in at, it would ping out the corner just as fast. But it would come out of the corner and then it would have like on power oversteer, understeer. So it would just push. It would just push on corner exit, and I couldn't get used to it. And I thought, well, if that's how a professional drives it, I'm going to keep it like that and try and figure it out. So when the grip came up, the car was amazing. Yeah, Tim. Yeah. So my fastest runs were at the same with everyone else, but when the grip went up and everyone else's tyres went off, my kart handled better. And to be honest, it felt dog shit on new tyres. It always worked better on old ones. But we used to run on really, really sticky tyres in Rotax. And they were only good for... They brought a rule in because there was a couple of rich kids that used to come and they paid for mechanics at club meetings, which was insane. I mean, I used to run out the back of a transit van. And I'm not going to plead poverty because karting's not a cheap sport. But I would make a set of tyres last the day and they were putting on a new set for each run. So the club decided that you had to run on the same set all day. And that's when they all went to shit because they couldn't get their karts to work after the tyres. The set of tyres was like 120 quid a set. And they were using 4 sets for a club meeting. And I'd still beat them. So I'm going to stop boasting now. Right, mask back on. Right, so new bottle of red. That new virginal seal, look. Oh, oh. And there's a secondary seal, sometimes, in the cap. Neon red, just for argumentary sake. Actually looks like red. I wonder if that does the same, because I think this is still overheating. that cleaner cleans these brushes so much better, because obviously when you normally change black to a bright colour, it normally takes a lot more to clean it, and that's cleaned it out much nicer. And that's normally spot on first go. Oh, knackers on this one. Mm. Well done, Tim. Yeah, I'm going to watch when you do F1. I am going to watch with that'll be quite interesting to watch, that will, because those things don't turn. Not on UK grip, anyway. So you mean, Tim, when you saw the new sign at Aldershot today, did you thought, oh, that's got my name written on it? Outside of the banking, flat out, Bosch. Well, I'll give you your dues. I remember watching you at Bedworth last summer, and in your final, you got bullied about a bit, and you gave as good as you got. If you're running that wide, there's a real a question mark there. If you're going to clear it or not. To be fair, it's probably too close to the racing line for you to get near it. It's on the outside of a corner, isn't it? I mean, there's a good 3 feet between that and the apex, so you might hit it. Yeah, some of your lines at Eastbourne, because that's my local track. But I mean, I must admit, I was like, how was he getting grip on that? Because that's the grass. Very impressed. Right, the design is starting to appear now. I won't be online tomorrow night. The current Mrs. Basil has asked for me to cease and desist tomorrow evening. I've got an odd job to do in the house or something. I've been trying to convince her that this is actually a job, but it's not really working. It is working. It's not working as in like convincing her. Must admit, the old way of doing pinstripes is way less complicated than this. But you do get much sharper pinstripes this way round. But I must admit, I prefer doing my pinstripes first when I'm a bit more sharp. Had a couple of hours of fumes now, and I'm a bit like, Hopefully this now the majority of this now is going to be a luminous yellow with some super top secret flicky stuff, which I can't show. or ask you to turn away. And then some crazy pinstripes in chrome and some white. Once you get the tails or the points pulled for the section you want, it's all right, but it's just a little bit of jeopardy when you're pulling this mask out, because you can attack the pinstripe on two fronts. Once you get it started, this glove has fallen to pieces, which is a very bad start for this box. Yeah, once I've done this for a fair few shells, it will seem pretty normal. But at the moment, it's a bit like, oh, really? Oh my god! because it, rather than just pick the pinstripe out, you're picking either side around it, so it's making twice as much picking. So you need your tweezers if you do it this way round. So this is the way Yoda told me to do it, which is very backwards. So who am I to argue with him? Argue you must. Tune. Nearly there. Woohoo! Oh, there's more. Oh, getting backache. It's just the wrong angle, sitting here for too long, just leaning over, just picking out pins. Oh. This is a Blitz. Where's the paperwork? A Blitz Cruise. Not a touring car. Well, it is a touring car shell, but it's not a touring car as in a. Yes, 210mm. I'm trying to work out if I need to do any more crazy shading. I think there's enough shading in the red. I don't really want to do too much because there's going to be pin. Maybe I need to do a little bit, tiny bit. Way easier than mixing it. Very lazy. I'm going to do little bits of shading. I'm not going to do massive amounts. Less is more. You do get much finer points this way round, I must admit. I'm trying to give it a bit of, rather than just doing like block shading all the way round and going a bit too much on it. I'm trying to build it up slowly over, so everyone's going to go, oh, you missed bits. Well, I didn't. I missed them deliberately. So yeah, I didn't do them, but I meant to not do them. Anyway, this isn't what your eye's going to be drawn to in a minute, because I'm going to do my mad top secret splat pattern in a minute, and then it's going to be brighter luminous yellow. So hopefully this will give you the idea of pinstripe with only a little bit of it. Shading, sorry, not pinstripe. Be careful, because my hex pattern just pulled up the pin there. Not used to that. So I'm doing some subtle hex. So hopefully this will be less is more as well. So hopefully this will. Right, so if everyone can look away a little bit for a minute. One, two, three, look away. Just got me on my nose. Just remember, this is reduced, so this is a bit watery. It's not really splatting like I want it to. I want it to like a bit of bird shit. That's very descriptive. Yes. Like bird shit. I see a little bit what you mean. It depends what you're looking. It depends what you can see, isn't it? Right, now we get to put some luminous yellow on it now. What colour does red and yellow make? I'm just thinking I missed a trick here, and I should probably have backed the red. Although I did put the red on very thick. So what colour does red and yellow make? Is it brown? Oh, orange. No. Rubbish. Oh well, it meant to be red. I should have twigged that. Where I've done it thick though, in theory, it shouldn't. If I dust on the yellow, it shouldn't clash. But if it does, lime green. Thank you, Albert. It's supposed to say rubbish. That's what it's supposed to say. I didn't think of it. Damn it! And it's too late now to back it. Yeah, I knew you'd say orange, Tim. You've been saying orange even if it wasn't orange. So you have to think what colours. See, hindsight's brilliant. No, the red's not clear, so in theory I've done it thick enough so it shouldn't react. And if it does, it's a happy accident. Does that sound positive enough? Because it's me trying to put a positive spin on some shit. Right, so I'll dust this on. Go on then, Aaron, what do they put? I'm only going to dust this on, so Well, that's cool. It hasn't affected it. Whew. I still think the webcam's getting too hot. How warm is it? It's still really quite hot. If you were going to go buy a webcam for this exact, like what I'm doing here, what would you buy? Can I just ask people's opinions? Because obviously this was given to me. Oh, so you mean actually like an actual camera? Sorry, that's supposed to be a camera. When you see it like these dance things and they've got actual proper, like what looks like a camera mounted on a tripod. Well, that'd be interesting. I suppose they're like mega money. Well, that's satisfying. Come on, keep going. Yeah. You couldn't mount a camera phone, or is that too simplistic of an idea? Some of the camera phones have got quite good cameras now. Well, phones. Right, we're on the homeward stretch now. We're just picking out the pinstripe, which I must admit is giving much nicer points. If slightly more time consuming. No, I don't like the idea of it being more technical. I want it simpler. Can't really cope with what I've got. Right, nearly there. So I'm actually looking forward to it. Once I get the current Mrs. Basil's jobs done tomorrow evening, I'm looking forward to actually having a night not painting. I might sit on my my arse and watch TV. I haven't done that for donkeys. I'll probably be bored and start drawing a shell, but the intention is there. I haven't had a day slobbing out during this lockdown thing. I've either been doing odd jobs in the garden, or I've been at work, or I've just been stopping the kids fighting, or I've been painting. Right, so now we can do the bit of white that will then lead to pulling it bits out, and I can then do the pinstripes. It'll slowly come together in a minute once I pull this bit out and then start peeling out the other pins. Right, who's ready? Obviously, we've still got to remove the pinstripe and do that. This is way yellower than it's looking on camera. Again, this camera's useless, but it was free, so. Can you see my little Boba Fett here sitting on my keyring? It looks like he's peed himself and he's turned all the blue sheet like a little pea colour. This is my little keyring Boba Fett. It looks like he's wet himself. I haven't finished yet, Morn, thank you. It's really thrown my eye, this pinstripe, because it's all different colours. Once I pick all this out and do this chrome, this is gonna pop like my glove. Does it remind you of a reflection, Timothy, in a mirror? Well, that was a little bit harsh, sorry. Truth hurts. Because the idea being is I wanted this to look wavy. Oh, that looks sharp, that pin. Look at that, when I just pulled out there, look at that. Let's all gaze at how amazing I am. I'm joking. I've come to terms with the fact I look like Ming the Merciless at the moment with my hair as short as it is. It's definitely a lockdown haircut, and it turns out my hairdresser's gone bust. So it looks like my wife's stuck with doing my hair for the future now. There, see, it's not actually clashing too bad tonight. Although I have a full head of hair, it just doesn't show up on the camera. This is going to seriously pop in a bit. I wonder if I'm allowed to take the overspray off. Oh, where did you find the fox, Aaron? He's put an emoji of a fox. Oh, I need that, please. Need. Sorry, that was way too enthusiastic then, sorry. If you could just hook me up, you know what I mean? Yeah. That's really starting to... How sharp those are. Well, you'll see in a bit. You cut your fingers on these bad boys. I'll have to find that. That's going to be my new favourite emoji. At the moment, my favourite emoji is a picture of me. You know, this new fad at the moment for making your own character. Mine looks amazing. I suffered for my art as well. I sat on the loo for a good half an hour doing that. Even got a beard and everything. I look a bit jihadist though, that's the problem. Hello Mr. Hendy, how are we? Did you see that Cotswolds is opening up eventually? Which I must admit I'm quite surprised about. But then that's the precedent, isn't it? They open, then other tracks can think about it. I'm looking forward to taking the bonnet crest off. I think that's going to look the best. Is that a squirrel? Oh, and everyone's doing foxes. That's wicked. Everyone send me foxes. That's wicked. I like that. No badgers, please. Just foxes. Definitely no skunks. It could be like a secret code so that I know that you've watched my live feed if I mention a particular animal, and then if you message me for the next couple of days, you've got to use that. So it's a code that all the people that aren't watching don't know about. So it's like super secret. It's like Basil code. Sorry, I'm a bit hypo now. I'm looking forward to seeing what this looks like. See how good that bonnet one looks. It's really sharp. I can't say I've ever had my pinstripe look this good. So I think this is actually a marked improvement in style as well. So I think in all, this is definitely worth the hassle. But then again, the way I was doing it now looks a bit slapdash. So this looks like this is the proper way round, and I was just doing it half-assed. When that's chrome, that is going to look amazing. June. And the more of this pattern that comes out, the more obviously mirror chrome this is going to be. So this is going to look sharp. Although I haven't got much of it left now, so I've got to be a bit careful. What animal's that now? Is that a raccoon? You didn't do a selfie, did you? Nice. Nice. Come on, keep with it, keep with it, keep with it, keep with it. Go on, go on. Ooh, that's a nice one. Wow, that looks so sharp. I could cut myself on these, I reckon. It's a bit like my wit. That's been known to be sharp. Bit blunt at the moment, but oh, you made one. Funny. It's upside down. Only because you were poking fun at me last night. Right, last little bit, and then we can start with that weapons grade chrome. That's looking banging, that is. See how I've made it wavy and pointy and not conformed, so it sort of, it looks a bit like a flame. rather than having it too sterile, I've tried to make it flow a bit, which is what I'm trying to learn to do. I'm trying to learn to be a bit more off. I'm a bit too regimented normally. Has to be an arc, has to be a curve, has to be a straight line, and sometimes wiggly wiggly works really well. And hopefully then these bits of shading I've done will look more in place once I put the chrome in. Right, so let's get on with it rather than me just talking about how great I am. Let's see if it actually works. But I am great. I've had doctors tell me I'm special. Right, this stuff is lethal, as in like smelly. So I'm going to hold my breath because it gets through my mask. Even runs out the end of the needle because it's that much thinner than the other stuff. It reminds you, if we go into Timpson's and smell the shoe glue, woohoo! That's got some, that's got some kick to it. That's gone right up my nose, that has. Woo! 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 Crikey. I might move my phone, just so my phone doesn't burn. Yes, and I kept my clothes on as well. You literally don't see this stuff for about 2 or 3 coats. You just know it's been there. That is really getting the back of my throat. Woo! Make sure if you do this, you do it in a ventilated space. Now, I'm lucky enough to have a whole shed to do this in, but I deliberately left loads of holes. Oh, honest, that was an honest. I left so there's ventilation points. Hopefully this goes quick. That gets the back of your... It's seeing if I've actually got where I need it to be. So I don't really know how much to build it up by yet. All I know is I've used way too much, because bear in mind that cost me 25 quid, and I've almost used half of it on 2 shells. So it's not cost effective at the moment. So I need to figure out a bit better. I think I'm putting it on too quick. That really gets the back of your... Why has my music stopped? It's a 4 hour 50-minute set, and there's a pause in the middle of it. Oh, come on, this is goes quicker than that. Ah, there. Right. Right, a light dusting of black behind it. Hopefully we'll seal in the chrome. Right, Darius, how are we? I'm desperate to take the overspray off. I don't know if I should. Yeah, are you still there, Ian? Are you still watching? you reckon I'll be able to take the overspray off, or shall I? All right, Lindsay. Today we've been playing around with very noxious chrome. You can actually taste it. Probably not the best thing. I'm going to try window tint on this one. That's why I'm taking the window masks out. So I'm going to use some detail black and dust from a distance. It's like social distancing but with paint. And I was told to do right, Neil, I don't know if you know my background. I own an art shop. And I've had the luxury of being able to go through and try all the pens we've ever sold, like permanent marker wise. I'll get the tape off this. So I've gone through and I've tried all the different permanent markers, and the one I like, because this is just my personal opinion, is a Pilot twin marker Pilot twin marker pen. Yeah, you've got a thick end and you have a thin. Oh, you like them, Aaron? That's good. These are the ones I really like. I really like these. I don't know if it's actually got a code on it. A Pilot. We go on to Pilot pens and just look for their twin marker. So it's a fine and a thick. I have a personal box of a dozen of these, and I'm kind of running out of them now. No, they don't rub off. They're really good. That's why it takes ages to rub off the bloody bit when you do. Need to see what's underneath it. Right, so we've got a little bit of detail black in with some reducer. You can't, no, I don't actually sell them anymore. So yes, go buy them on eBay. That's not a problem. If I did start stocking them again, I would insist on you all buying them off me. But I haven't got them, so fill your boots. Because it's family-run business, and my dad keeps seeing that I pinch them, so he stopped selling them. So slight window tint. which looks way worse on the camera than it actually is in real life, I promise you. Ian, are you still there? I want to take the overspray off, and I just want to double check it's okay to do so. You're kind of like official on that NTC thing, aren't you? Yes. What I do is I just leave them in a cup with the fine pointing down, and they might come back to life. I don't really. I use the fine really only for the headlights, and then I use the thicker end for everything else. If you clean the shell beforehand with some brake cleaner, the permanent marker sticks way better. But if you're just drawing straight onto a shell, the best one it draws straight onto is the zoo. Any zoo shell. Their overspray is amazing. It just sticks. Whereas the complete opposite is the twister. The twister doesn't stick to anything the twister does. So a little bit of my experiments. I'm really pleased with that. I'm really desperate to take I'm going to take the overspray off. Sod it. I never really get to advertise them with the overspray off, so I want to see what this chrome, because I think this is making the chrome look satin. Pop. Bish bash. Boom boom. I wonder if you can see the webcam in it again like you could the other night. Yeah, look at the webcam, you can see it. That's how the mirror chrome is. So you can't see it in the window, but you can see it in the... So the camera's overheated, so I'm just trying to reset the... I'll take some photos in a minute and put it on Facebook. But I've dusted the back of the pinstripe, so in theory there's still an element of translucent, so you do get some light between them, but it just gives it it just pops like a mirror. It's wicked stuff, really good. Okay, so that's number 1 of 5. So thank you, Mon. Another late one for you. Right, I'll take some photos and I'll put them up in a minute. But thank you very much for watching. We learned some stuff. We learned that my gloves are rubbish. And anyone that's super cool will now be using the fox emoji. I'm going to have a night off tomorrow. I'm going to sit on the sofa in my underpants. Yeah. There's a nice mental picture for you all. So, thank you very much for watching. Ooh. That's something out of a zombie film, isn't it? Well, these are rubbish. Right. Oh, that's so much nicer. Right. Thank you. Good morning, good evening, good night.